there's no evidence that immigration drove more votes to Donald Trump because he got essentially the same share of the electorate as he did in 2020. And I also want to say the same thing for the culture war waged against trans people. There is no suggestion, the idea that people were enraged about trans. Are Trump voters upset about trans people? Yes, that's their aggrievement du jour. Yeah. But that didn't create any new voters for Trump.
Right. In 2022, the Republicans without Trump at the top of the ticket were did not do well running on transphobia as one of their central planks.
Absolutely not. And I just want to go over this, AP. I mentioned this yesterday, but this is very important to understand because the people out there who are talking about we have some type of social contagion, the people who are talking about trans rights are overcoming everything, and you can't send your kid to school without coming out trans. AP reports that JAMA, the Journal of American Medical Association Pediatrics, has done a study to try and assess how many children, patients, ages 8 to 17 received gender-affirming care. The data ranges from 2018 to 2022, 5 years. 2022 is the last year I think that they could get the full data as they were doing this study. Only 926 adolescents with a gender-related diagnosis received puberty blockers over that 5-year period. Not 9,000, not 900,000, 926. That's less than 20 kids per state over a 5-year period. Also during that time, about double that, almost 2,000 received hormones. Again, this is from ages 8 to 17. This is over a 5-year period. The researchers found that no patients under the age of 12 were prescribed hormones. So only kids 12 to 18, 2,000 of them over the course of 5 years. Study did not look at surgeries. Other researchers have found those procedures are extremely rare. That's relative to the incredibly rare amount of kids who are actually getting gender-affirming care and medications. And what that suggests, if it's not explicit, is that there are safeguards, that this isn't being done willy-nilly.
Yeah. That Johnny's not going to school and coming back Jill or whatever, like Donald Trump has been saying.
It's not a new industry. Yeah, they're just sending kids to kindergarten. But even the people
who supposedly are like, listen, I'm for trans rights, but I'm just concerned that we are castrating, the children, and we are ruining children's lives willy-nilly.
We are not.
Cite the actual data. You can tell me that there's one whistleblower who ends up being considered a freak by everybody who came in touch with her at a hospital, causing bomb threats everywhere, saying that the procedures were too lax. But the actual data tells a completely different story.
Yep.
This, and not to mention the studies that show that the people who receive this care almost overwhelmingly, but almost totally, were happy they engaged in this care. And you can't find any medical procedure or any, frankly, psychological treatment
and this
that has any better rate of less regret. So, I mean, this is really important stuff to understand.
Right. And this is very similar data to the one that Joe Rogan pulled up some years ago. I guess it was just 2 years ago at this point when Matt Walsh came on to promote his documentary, where he was saying that there were millions of children in this country undergoing trans-affirming care. And this is somebody who supposedly toiled over this data and did a whole documentary about it. When you see the reality of these numbers, just just be clear, like, these are not people operating in good faith. They're smear merchants directing hatred towards people because they can't deliver on their politics for a majority of Americans.
And when you engage in this culture war, all you're doing, you're not helping children, you're not protecting children. All you're doing is creating more hate, you're creating more suffering, you're helping right-wingers, and you're perpetrating lies and aggrievement and just demonizing the next, cohort du jour that's going to be demonized by the right. That's all you're doing.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.